Hello friends. In this session, we are going to start of a part of exception handling. We will start with the exception example without using try catch. Now, I will create a package over here. Okay. In that, I create class exception 0 with public static void main. Then in that, I create now I will try to run this. This will not be executed. Now I will run this project exception 0. It will give me like java.lang arithmetic exception divided by 0 at Java 9. And like we have seen in theory part, you can see this exception by default handler. It is created. Now I will put this code into try catch block. Try catch. Arithmetic exception. And I print division by 0. Division by 0. And after catch, I put one line. After catch statement. After catch statement. Okay. So now I try to run this project again. Division by 0 after catch statement. Okay, this is my output with try and catch block. Now we will see one more example of arithmetic exception. I will close this project now. Close project. Then I create handle error. Handle error. Finish. I create a package. Package for handle error. Now I create a class called handle error. With public static void main. In this main method, I write int a is equal to 0, b E is equal to 0. The three values are 0. Then random R is equal to random. I import this package, import random. Then for I is equal to 0, I less than 3 to 0, 0, 0, I plus. I writing try and catch. In try, B is equal to R dot next int, C is equal to R dot next int, and D A is equal to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 divided by B divided by C. Okay. So in any time of division, arithmetic exception may occur. Okay. For that purpose, I write here arithmetic exception E, and I put division by 0. 0. A is equal to 0. A 0 and continue. Okay. Now after that, I print A. A is equal to plus A. I run this code. Sometimes error is occurring, sometimes it is not. Okay. So it is displaying me 32,000 times value. And whenever division by 0 is occurring, A is set to 0 and continue with the operation. And also, if I want to print the exception, I can write it like this. Or 10 times I write over here, and I can print the error. Now I run this. Okay, so this is displaying me the error for that many times that it is occurring. Now we will see multiple catch clauses. For that, I have to close this project again. Close project. Then I create new project. Multi catch. I finish. Now, for that, I create a package. New package. Package for multi catch. Now I right click over here, new, then class. Multi catch with public static void main. Okay. Here also I write try. Then this example we have seen in our theory part. So you have already know you are already known to it. System dot out. A is equal to plus A. Now int B is equal to 42 divided by A. And in C with one element, that is 1. length is 1 and element is also 1, and C of 42 is equal to 99. We were trying to put over there. Now I can catch these exceptions. First exception is arithmetic exception. P. Then I print divide by 0 plus exception. And second exception is catch array index out of bounds exception E. Here also I write array index OOB plus E. Now I try to run this project. A is equal to 0 divided by 0 is occurring, and now I try to give the argument, command line argument. Now I give here arguments, program arguments. Here I am apply. So arguments are 3 now, and array index out of bounds exception index 42 out of bounds or length 1. So this is the exception they have shown. Now we will see unreachable code error. If I write over here base class of all these classes catch exception E, all this code will be unreachable. It is called as unreachable. It is already handled by catch block for exception. Okay, so try to write subclasses first, and then if error is not caught here by any of the classes, it can be handled by base class, that is exception class. You can write it like this: handled by main exception class. Now I can print over here. Okay. Now we will see the example of nested try catch. Okay, so I can close this one, new project, nested try table. I create package for nested try, new package, package for nested try. Now I create a class called nested try over here. Nested try with public static void main. So everything I will be writing inside try. Int A is equal to rx dot length. Int B is equal to 42 divided by 8. Now I print A is equal to plus A. Then next try. Okay. In the next try, if A is equal to 1, A is equal to A divided by A minus A. That is, if one command line argument is present, then divided by 0 exception will be generated by the following line of code, because division by 0. Next, then if two command lines are used, if a is equal to 2, then in C is equal to 1. This is the same example as the previous example, but it is somewhat modified. C of 42 is equal to 99. So depending upon number of arguments we are providing here, it will generate the error. Now, this is ended. This is the inside try. For inside try, I give catch of array index out of bounds exception. And this is directly related to this try. You can see this. I click over here. This catch is directly related to inner try. And I print array index out of bounds. And I print with E. Next, this try with arithmetic exception. I print here arithmetic exception with E. So this way, divide by 0. So this way, we have understood. Now I will run this project. Okay. Division by 0. Argument's length is 0 for this execution. Now I add one argument and see what is the output. I select nested try, then go to arguments high. One argument is there, apply, run. One argument is with java.lang arithmetic exception. Okay. So for one argument, it is giving me division by 0 error, this one. And for two arguments, you will see what happens here. Run configuration, go to Java application, go to arguments high here. Apply, run. To array index out of bounds. Okay. It will generate this exception. Now we will see the next example, throw demo. I will close this one. New project, throw demo. Here I will create one package inside this throw demo. New package for throw demo. Inside that, I create a class called throw demo. Throw demo with throw demo with public static void main. Static void demo procedure. So you can write the try catch inside a method also. We can see how it is happening over here. Try, throw, new, null pointer, exception with message tail. catch that null pointer exception E. In that, I write caught inside demo procedure. Demo procedure, and I will throw it. Throw this object I am not handling over here. I am throwing it. Okay. So now sorry, I'm writing it inside public static void. It should be outside of that. Then I again write try because that exception is not being caught. So I think, or I am afraid that this can be again, that this should be again handled with the try catch block. So for that purpose, what I do, I write it down inside the try catch block. Catch null pointer exception, and it is re-caught over here. Re-caught plus E. Now we will try to run this. Caught inside demo procedure. First of all, call to this method is done. In this method, it is throwing, we throw keyword new null pointer exception, creating and throwing the object of null pointer exception. It is caught inside this catch block, and this catch block it's again throwing it, and after this is done, it will go to this catch and it is catching the exception. Record java dot null pointer exception. Okay. Demo. Now we will see throws demo. Close this project. Then file, new project. Throws demo. Finish. I create new package again. New package. Package for throws demo. Finish. Now here I create a class called throws demo. Throws demo with main method. Now we will see without using throws keyword how error can occur. Okay. So I create a method static void throw 1. Inside throw 1. And this is throwing throw new illegal access exception table. Okay. And I'm calling this method using main, from main throw 1 inside try and catch. So now it is unhandled exception and method is throwing it. But when method is throwing that exception, it must be writing using throws keyword that it is throwing the exception. Okay. So in that case, it is unreachable because it is not declaring that it is throwing, and so this is the unreachable code. So what is the solution for this? It should be writing throws illegal access exception. After that, this program will compile also and run also. Now it is inside throw one, it is throwing caught and it is throwing exception after calling, and it is coming over here again and it is catching the exception. So this way we have understood throws keyword also. Now the last one we will see, that is finally. For that I will close this project and I create new project for that, new Java project. Finally, save. New package or finally demo. Now I create a class called finally demo with a main method. Finally demo with public static void main. Now I write over here static void procedure A. Try. Side procedure A. Then throw new run time exception. Demo. Okay, and after that finally without catch, finally must be there, or if it is with catch, there should be at least one catch. Then finally is optional. Procedure is finally. Then return from within a try block. Then second method static void. Return from try block. Static void procedure B. Then try. And inside procedure B, as we have seen that whether the exception is caught or not, or explicitly you are writing a return keyword return, then also finally will be executed in any condition. So let's see what happens in this case, whether it is displaying the finally message or not. So first one, procedure A was throw an exception out of method. Throw an exception out of method. Here written from within a try block. The third is execute a try block normally. Execute try block normally. So static void procedure C try inside procedure C. Then I write finally directly without throwing anything or without any exception message, exception in chances, procedure C is fine. Now in main method I call try procedure A we catch exception E. Now inside it I write exception caught. Then I call procedure B and procedure C. Since this is a static procedure or static method, it can be called without using object. Now let's see what happens inside procedure A. Procedure A is finally. Okay. Then exception caught. In this case, new exception which is thrown from here, new runtime exception, and it is caught over here. Then inside procedure B is finally, inside procedure C finally. So what we have understood from this project is, whatever is the case, your finally will always be run. Here exception was thrown out of the method. Here return keyword is written from within a try block, and here no exception is thrown. But in all cases, finally was executed. Okay. So finally is very important. When you are writing catch block, finally is optional. When you are not writing catch block, finally is compulsory with try block. There should be at least catch or finally with the try block. So now custom exception object, custom exception example, we will see last example. My exception demo. Finish. Now I create package my exception demo. I create a class called my exception with main method. Sorry, exception demo will have main method and my exception will be the separate class. Okay, so my class my exception extends exception. This is my custom exception I am creating. Private integer detail. This example also we have seen in theory part. Now my exception int a detail is initialized to a. Lastly, public string toString is overridden over here. toString method. Now return my exception plus detail plus and then semicolon. Now I create separate class exception demo. Inside that I create static void compute int a rows my exception. Then compute plus a plus parenthesis complete if a is greater than 10. Throw new my exception. And else we need not write else over here. It will be normal exit. Okay. And then in public static void main I call compute 1. 1 is greater than 10 is false, so normal exit will be there, and compute 20 will be non-normal exit with exception. And at surround, if I don't write try catch, they tell me to surround with try catch. And to catch plus I run this. First of all, normal exit will be there, and next caught will be there. Called compute 1, normal exit, and caught my exception. This toString method is overridden in my case. So instead of the message they print, they are using my implementation of toString since I am extending the exception. Okay. So this way we have completed the exception practical part. From the next session, we will start with the multi-threaded programming. So meet you in the next session. Thank you so much.